Between 1939 and 1945, the whole world, mainly Europe, was involved in the World War that happened to humanity, according to experts, which took over 60 million lives and transformed the world entirely.
The war was the product of resentments and destructive forces that had been brewing for decades. At the center of it was the profound wound left in Germany by the Treaty of Versailles. This agreement, perceived as a humiliating dictation, burdened the country with huge war reparations and territorial losses, creating a generalized rage that extremist groups were able to exploit. Adding to this was the virulent rise of fascist and Nazi ideologies across Europe. These regimes, led by charismatic figures, rejected democracy and embraced an ultranationalist vision. The global conflict of the World War II began with the Nazi invasion of Poland, which immediately brought the Great Britain and France into the war. The following year brought a series of stunning Axis victories, highlighted by the rapid fall of France in 1940, leaving Britain isolated. The subsequent Battle of Britain was a critically turning point as the Royal Air Force successfully defended against the Nazis, preventing an invasion. In 1941, Hitler committed his greatest blunder by launching Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of Soviet Union. Opening a vast brutal of Eastern Front, the war became truly global in December 1941, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and this brought the United States directly into the conflict.
This was followed by battles in 1942. The battle in Stalingrad began to turn the tide against the Nazis on the Eastern Front, while the Battle of Midway decided to shift a naval power to the Allies. A massive turning point in the wars occurred in 1944 with the D-Day landings in Normandy, which established a crucial Western front, leading directly to the liberation of France. The war in Europe concluded with the surrender of Nazi Germany in 1945. The war in the Pacific was brought to a swift and tragic end in August 1945 when the United States deployed 2 atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, leading to the final surrender of Japan and the close of the war. The impact of this event was that many technologies were developed to pass information quickly and efficiently. So one of the best inventions was digital computers, named like that because of the digits 1 and 0 they use. Also, atomic bombs were a huge discovery for the branch of physics, being a huge step for quantum mechanics. But this also makes us clear that this power was too much to control, representing such a bunch of risks for humanity. Nowadays, many countries have this armament, and it can be dangerous to the world, but the technologies for communication continue advancing.
Now, if we were the ones with the power to act in that moment and choose something better about the atomic bombs, we will take the decision to use it less than the American government did, because it was totally necessary to use it twice, when the little boy was the only that could be reasonable for Japanese surrendering. And also because involving civilians in the war isn't ethical at all. This action will have saved hundreds of thousands of innocent lives, having the same reaction from the Japanese government, and letting know the same about the risks of the atomic bomb.
Another key point is that if we were one of the countries from the Allies, we would not allow Hitler to become Chancellor in 1983, because his passive beliefs were too dangerous for the world peace. But the whole world saw that as a bad deal from him, not thinking that he was taking seriously about taking over the world with the white superiority. With that withdrawal from the League of Nations, the entirety of the world wouldn't happen, and the world would have peace for more time. Finally, the last thing is that if the nation hadn't been overgoverned, at the start of the war, France wouldn't have lost 50% of the land, causing to finish the war early. And this is the last thing we will change.